Breaking news now on KCAL News at 10. A standoff in Camarillo continuing into the night. Federal immigration agents facing off with hundreds of protesters in the darkness after a day of violence and arrests.
Both sides clashing repeatedly during an immigration raid on the largest licensed marijuana grow farm in Ventura County.
And a tense standoff at times, violent one too. Law enforcement firing tear gas, a protester leaping onto a car, other protesters tackled and taken down, some taking aim at agents.
Look at that. They're getting pelted right now. Let's see if they're going to get pelted as well. And indeed, look at that, shattered the window, shattered the driver's side window.
Oh, the violence, clashes, and protests all happening as mass detentions and arrests were underway. The feds have not said how many were detained, but from SkyCal, we counted dozens of people being led away. And tonight, federal immigration agents continue loading people they've arrested into buses and vans for transport to federal detention centers. We do have live team coverage for you, beginning tonight with Lauren Pozen, who's been on the scene for hours now. Lauren.
Susie Wan, it is still very much an active scene here. Behind me are protesters. They're chanting. I'll be quiet for just a second. Maybe we can hear them. So what they're doing is they are right in front of the National Guard that's standing right there blocking the road there. Within the last hour, they brought up this vehicle so they can have a spotlight so they can see. It's very dark out here. You know, the tension, you can cut it like a knife out here. People are very much frustrated, and they are chanting they want ICE out of Camarillo. A chaotic scene unfolded in Camarillo as federal agents clashed with protesters during an immigration raid at a Glass House Farms, the largest licensed marijuana grow facility in Ventura County.
There's people in there trying to get their family members out, and then just to push us out, they started tear gassing us, and it burns really bad. We're not really doing anything.
The Department of Homeland Security says agents were serving a warrant, suspecting large numbers of undocumented workers there. The feds have not said how many they detain, but from SkyCal, we saw dozens.
They're afraid to work. They're afraid, you know, it's in between providing for their families and going to work, you know, and they have no choice. They have to come out.
Word of the immigration raid spread fast. Tensions exploded as protesters clashed with federal agents. One person jumping onto the hood of a federal agent's car, while another protester in a wheelchair squared off with agents. Agents deployed tear gas, forcing the crowd to back off.
They threw one under the car, and then all the car inside, it got full of smoke.
Some of the detainees were loaded onto U.S. Marshal buses and driven away, but not before things got even more violent. Protesters threw rocks at ICE vans, smashing the windshield of at least one.
And indeed, look at that, shattered the window, shattered the driver's side window right there.
We're here united. We're not letting ICE agents in. We're not letting ICE agents out. We've been trying to block in since we're not giving them what they want.
Protesters say the people detained are hardworking individuals just trying to make a living.
I worry especially for, you know, women who are married to these men in here that don't work, and they have no chance. Once these men are gone, they have to fend for themselves.
And the path to citizenship, she feels, could be filled with challenges.
It's a very long process. It's very expensive. And for the people that don't have it or don't have somebody to sponsor them, it's inaccessible.
And some new developments we learned within the last 15 minutes here. The FBI confirms they are investigating a shooting that happened near this protest. This being confirmed by the FBI and the U.S. Attorney, who also told us that multiple people were arrested for obstructing the operation. Also tonight, we learned from Customs and Border Patrol that in addition to the adult detainees that they also have 10 children that were detained, all undocumented, and because of that, the feds are now launching a child labor investigation. Reporting live in Camarillo, Lauren Pozen, KCAL News.
And Mike, we're just getting word tonight from the feds that someone actually appeared to point a pistol at agents during today's protest, as Lauren was just referring to.
Yeah, and we've got the video. SkyCal was overhead. We just went back and looked through our footage, and we were actually able to find it the moments of that gunshots happened. So this was during a chaotic scene as Border Patrol agents were pushing the crowd back. Now, it's up by that motorcycle, and don't worry, I'm going to slow the video down here for you, and you're going to see it right on the right side of your screen where I've highlighted. He'll come into frame. You see him pointing that object right there. Border Patrol and U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli accuse him of firing rounds during that encounter. You're going to see a still photo of him here in just a second that was tweeted out by the U.S. Attorney's Office. They say this is that man. Now, they don't have any idea who he is. You can see he is wearing a mask over his face. It does not appear that anybody was actually struck by gunfire. We'll show you the video one more time here, and you'll see it slowed down again one more time. But as the crowd is running, there he is, highlighted on the right side of your screen, where you see him pointing the gun, and according to federal officials, he is firing that gun. Now, there is a $50,000 reward for information leading to the identity and arrest of that individual. And again, this news just coming down in the last few moments, you guys.
Okay, Mike, thank you very much. We want to go back, continuing coverage of this breaking news here in Camarillo, where a standoff continues between law enforcement and protesters after a massive raid and immigration sweep at Glass House Farms.
Desmond Shaw live in SkyCal over the scene. Tell us what you're seeing tonight, Desmond.
Well, Susie and Juan, we are here with this big caravan of vans that we believe these are a lot of the same ones that left the scene earlier, some of them that were hit with rocks by protesters, and they took a rather surreptitious way to get back to the farm right here. Let's show you some earlier video that we witnessed of some of the arrests that were happening. We did see some detainees being put in the back of these vans, but they've been sitting here now for quite a while. And then we also have some other video to show you as well of that route that they took through the cornfields with all the dirt being kicked up. And the protesters were able to see them a lot more easily in the day with all the dirt being kicked up, but maybe more difficult at night as we're starting to see a lot more heavy equipment rolling around as well. Still a ton of protesters out here. This is along Laguna Road, and let's go over here and see how they do not look like they are leaving anytime soon. So this is on the side that's closer to Wood Road along Laguna. There's also protesters over on the Las Posas side of Laguna Road. So just waiting to see if they're going to try to transport more people today without agitating any of the protesters. And if they do, obviously they want to avoid a repeat of what happened earlier today. Live at SkyCal overhead, I'm Desmond Shaw. Juan and Susie, back to you in the studio.
Yep, and all being done with flashlights and the headlights of those cars. Thanks so much, Des. Mike, on the desk now, Mike, the Camarillo protest also spread to a hospital in Oxnard, right?
Yeah, it did. So after the people that were at the Camarillo protest, and you saw it from some of the video we've been showing you, there was clashes with federal law enforcement. Some of those people went to St. John's Medical Center in Oxnard to be treated for their injuries. We'll show you the video because while they were there were federal agents that brought in people that were in their custody into the hospital to be treated, likely what's called a clear to book, a medical clearance to book them into whatever facility they were taking them. People at the medical center saw the Border Patrol or the immigration agents at the hospital and believed that they were there to make arrests of people who were injured during the protests and being treated in the hospital. Oxnard Police Department tells us, to their knowledge, immigration officials did not arrest anybody in the hospital and were only there to get medical treatment for somebody that was already in their custody. Now, we did reach out to the DHS to try to get a statement on this as well. As you can imagine, we don't always hear back from them in a very kind of timely or fast manner here, so we're waiting to hear more from them. Oxnard PD says none of their officers were injured. They reiterate they only responded to the scene to deal with the crowd and traffic control that formed outside of the hospital. But at last check, there were still some people out there protesting outside of that hospital, guys.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. Back to our breaking news now out of Camarillo.
Let's go to Desmond Shaw live in SkyCal over the scene. Des?
Well, Juan and Susie, so here's the dirt road. This is up off of Las Posas, well to the north of Laguna, where earlier we saw a couple of Bearcats come and they escorted those vans back in, and it looks like a lot of federal personnel were trying to use that same route to leave the farm kind of undetected, but it did not work. Now, they had this area sealed off earlier, but now they don't, and the protesters seem to know exactly what was going on. If they could see the headlights all coming down in the distance here. So all of a sudden, this may be a bit of a confrontation. They have put a bunch of vehicles here blocking the road, and some of them standing here. I know it's pretty dark, but you can see them standing on the opposite side of Las Posas, and they were trying to wave more people in as well. So they're forming a blockade now and not allowing these National Guard vehicles to leave the scene. So it's just kind of have to see how this is going to unfold, if this is going to escalate or if they're going to turn back around and try to find another way. I mean, there's a lot of dirt roads here on these farms. I could actually show you right now on our satellite view here very quickly. And so that's Las Posas Road there to the left. There's a lot of, it's kind of a maze, but a lot of these roads do kind of zigzag around the farms in various ways. So all of a sudden now this convoy's kind of stopped up by protesters that have massed here at this kind of discreet entrance off of Las Posas Road. Again, it was sealed off earlier when we saw this, when they were escorting vans in, but not the case now at this point. And so now kind of a brand new standoff situation developing here, Juan and Susie.
Well, Desmond, I know it's kind of dark out there and hard to see, but do you see any of the National Guard members out of their vehicles?
Yes, I do. There's one right here. Actually, a couple. I can kind of double in right there. You see one back of the trunk of that Humvee right here, and a couple more out here walking around. And you know, we know that the National Guard troops have seemingly been extremely careful to not, you know, escalate the situation where it's not necessary. So now, actually, yeah, we have quite a few of them out here walking around, and they may just kind of have to reverse course if they're trying to de-escalate things here. Some really bright strobes now. What do we have here? I can't tell if that is a protester. I think it is. Yeah. A protester, maybe with some powerful strobe lights. We know that has been a very popular, very common tactic when it comes to some of these protests are these kinds of strobe lights. So more and more protesters arriving now, and just not sure how the National Guard's going to handle this.
Mike, and the fact that a lot of people were leaving the area here, did this mean they were wrapping up their operation here at the pot farm, or the thought is that they were getting ready to leave and be done with it here?
That's kind of what when we were looking at everything, it looked like the last bit of vans they had there maybe to transport agents and do all this. Now, I don't want to give away any plans. I don't know any plans, but there is a world where this is a other agents going out another back road, right? Because we've not seen, as far as since the National Guard, and by the way, this could be National Guard mixed with Marines. We don't know, because remember, the Marines are still active as well. So we don't know kind of the exact makeup here, but obviously they are members of the military. Now, we've not seen members of the military engage in direct kind of, yes, let's go ahead and look at it, Des. Yeah. So I think this is happening. So we're going to go look at another spot here. Desmond's going to go look at it for us. Thanks, Des. Yeah. But yes, we've not seen any military members, whether it's the National Guard or the Marines, directly engage with civilians. We've not seen them do that. So, and here we go. So here comes, these are the vans, right, Des?
I think these are a lot of, these are, I think, all of the other vehicles. I mean, there's a lot of SUVs here that look like they might be undercover. I mean, we had so many hundreds of personnel here today in every kind of vehicle, from, you know, hardcore Humvees to heavy equipment to Bearcats and vans and SUVs unmarked. And so now, yes, this is the vans that have been sitting here, and they've obviously been plotting for a very long time how they want to do this. So, you know, now, I mean, obviously they're all in constant communication right now, and then the protesters over on this side, will get one more look at them, and then we're going to focus on those vans and see what they decide to do. So the National Guard holding protesters back there, and on that side earlier, they were actually kind of trying to creep around some of the guards to get closer to the farm, and the guards kind of had to go deep onto the farmland to avoid that from happening. But now a very, very long line of cars.
So many.
And, you know, we'll see which way they're going to go. But, I mean, the main road is blocked by hundreds of people right now. And we'll go see what's happening with that convoy as well that was over on that. That might be a drone flying right there. Yeah, now it's kind of interesting. Is that a protester drone, or is that like an official drone from this federal operation? It's not clear. But now back over here onto Las Posas Road and the dirt road here. And now you've got a bunch of guards here, and now some others that are starting to turn to the right. They're actually backing up, so they might have to kind of do like a big, kind of a loop operation, turn all these vehicles around. So still very fluid here on the farms on the Oxnard Plain.
And Mike, as far as we know, these vans are empty tonight, right?
Well, we don't know. I mean, I think at this point they have people in them, but we believe that they're more than likely federal agents. We believe that everybody that has been detained here has been removed from here. I believe what the vans were being used for now is maybe to transport agents. It's possible that they still have a group of people that are in custody that they may be moving, but we were kind of watching that. I'm all stacked up outside of the building. We slowly watched that get smaller and smaller, and I haven't seen anybody actually detained in a while. I think since we left in like the 8 o'clock hour, or the top of the 9, is the last time I actually saw anybody being detained. So there may well be a small number mixed in there. But the larger of the group we believe is gone. Des, I have a question really quickly. Is there any other, okay, so the convoy passed the dirt road, and are they coming to where this other group of protesters is?
Let's see here. Now they're making it, it does appear so. We're getting a little exhaust on the lens here, Chris. These vehicles these are other protesters we believe that are going up there, up Las Posas Road, but here on Laguna Road.
And now they're trying to turn around
You're right.
too.
They are kind of face to face with all the protesters, and yeah, we've got people that are backing up, and I mean, I just don't know how they're going to get through this without
what a mess.
This turning into a potentially really big conflict.
So protesters, Mike, may not know that there are no immigrants inside those vans, right? They may not know that perhaps the operation is wrapped up. This has been going on all day.
10 a.m. Yeah.
So
yeah, and I mean, I think that Joy had it in her piece earlier. They were giving firefighters handshakes and throwing things at National Guard. So I don't think that. I think the protesters are, to be honest, probably hoping that there's no immigrants in there and can focus their attention on the law enforcement, because that's what they've been doing throughout the day. And I think, Des, unless you see another way, both that main roads are blocked, and now so is that dirt road. I don't know that there's another exit point along this road. What do you think?
Well, let's just widen all the way out and show the farmland here. I mean, you can see there are a lot of interconnecting roads right here. So, they may be able to find a way through. And, I mean, those National Guard vehicles are almost, certainly equipped with four-wheel drive, and if they really felt the need, could probably just go straight through the farm fields themselves. I mean, probably would not be a very good look to do that, but it would be possible. So, yeah, I mean, we're watching a lot of different groups now. This is the ones that just seemingly got blocked in, and I mean, maybe this isn't a decoy because they're all kind of backing up. I mean, there seems to be a degree of confusion, and it's just baffling because like I said, we witnessed this all being blocked earlier by a couple of Bearcats, and there were a lot of personnel that came out here, and they stopped traffic, and they were able to get vehicles out and vehicles in without any kind of confrontation. And it's I don't know if it was just a temporary thing. They didn't think to keep that manned, or if they were trying to just be as discreet as possible and not make it seem like that was something that they were going to use. But now everyone's massed up here on Laguna Road, and they're all turning around again. So if they're going to try to find another way around this, or if they're even familiar with all the territory, maybe that, I don't know if that drone is equipped with like night vision technology, if that's even something that's out there, I'm not sure. But maybe they're trying to find another way to get out of this without inflaming any tensions.
And this is actually after all the escalation from earlier today, Desmond, you were talking about during the 5 o'clock hour when some of the vans were trying to leave.
Yes, and and so many of those vehicles got hit with rocks, and that was a pretty serious situation. I will also mention, though, there was also a big group of people that the protesters were just fine letting out. A lot of cars that had been trapped in there, if they were farm workers that were not taken into custody, or people that got caught up in all this. But there were more than a few vehicles that we saw go past the line of protesters, and we actually saw some of the protesters clapping and cheering for those people. So I'm wondering if that group that I just showed you of vehicles, if that is the case with any people that are not really affiliated with this at all and just are kind of trapped in here. It's just such a confusing situation. But one thing is for sure, they are not going to be getting through that road without some kind of confrontation with these people. They've been here for a very long time. one of the most determined groups of protesters I've seen in recent memory.
All right, Desmond, we're going to keep an eye on this and have the latest for our viewers on KCAL News.